guys, batong. So I just had a look at the previous video, part 1, and you guys let me record with a whole duke on, with a whole Hansa. So it's a girl. Remove Pella, the edges are fine. My people. Hi beautiful people, thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, it's such a joy sitting here sharing a little bit of myself with you. So this is part 2 from where we've left off, and yes, it's the same outfit. I can remember I'm chasing load shedding and the time, so hey, time is money, and I was about to do a whole wardrobe change, and then I realized wait, baby girl, we actually have no time. If you haven't watched the previous video, I'd suggest that you start there just so it can give you a bit of background on what we're talking about. This is part 2 on my journey with breast cancer. So like I said, went in for an operation, all was good, all was lovely, and I assumed just because I got cut that everything was in order, but that couldn't be any further from the truth, right? So it took about, I'd say, a year or so for me to start feeling a little bit of an unusual growth once again. And I remember it was during class. It was during like a physics class. I remember I'm just the person who just enjoys having her hands in her breasts. And I remember at one such occasion, my hand was in there and I felt, wait, man, wait. It feels like someone is here and someone doesn't belong here. And obviously I was bummed because what do you even mean? I thought I was now out of the words, but having to go through all of that again, it's just the thought of it. Guys, it just the whole thing made me tired, I won't lie. But then I thought, it was really small compared to the others, because after my operation, then I was shown like the lumps that they took out, and those things were humongous. They were huge. Like it was a bowlinyana eso, and I couldn't believe those things were out of me. But anyway, life went on. So compared to those, it felt quite small. It felt relatively small. So I was like, maybe it'll just remain like that forever. The show goes on, because by now I'm in grade 11, and we all know grade 11, it's chop cutthroat. It's time to be serious because you're trying to get admitted to university and your results need to make sense. So now I was like, you know what, I'm just going to bomb blue ticket and we'll just see what happens. Should it become big, should it start growing and multiplying, then I feel like only then will I take action. Also, not the most advisable, but there was a lot going on. Let me just put it that way. There was too much going on, right? Grade 11, 2012. That was the year 2012. 2012 comes and goes. The next year, I was now in matric, and I was obviously not about to interrupt anything in my matric year with an operation that will need me to be off the field for a whole 3 weeks. No, I was not doing that. So also matric came and went. But even during that year of 2013, there were still small, new small lumps that were forming and growing now in both breasts. And obviously I was bummed because I'm just trying to be normal. I'm just trying to be a baby girl, nothing more, nothing less. Can I just be a baby girl? Now they keep on growing, multiplying, but not as quickly as the previous occurrence. So I figured, maybe, you know what, it's just buying me time. We'll see it when we see it, right? Then matric came and went, completed matric. The year 2014 came, and I was now in my first year, now at rest and far from home, and everything is normal. Except now I started to feel this excruciating pain on my right breast. Like, this breast is problematic. It started to feel painful, like wherever those lumps were. They would sometimes feel painful from the inside of like, I don't know how to explain it, because it's not a pain that you feel on your skin like if someone cut you, but you feel a pain within your skin. I don't know how else to explain it. So they kept on growing. So now from the time when I started first year until around the month of May, things went from 0 to 100 really quickly, right? And remember, now it's cutthroat university. We're studying until early hours of the morning. We're literally not sleeping. We're eating all sorts of nonsense. And now when does a girl catch a break? So now obviously I had to consult again, go the whole route of getting tests and I remember The first doctor that had operated me, he suggested that let's just leave them, let's just do some tests, and if they're not malignant, then let's just leave them as they are, because the more we cut you, then we're kind of ruining your boobies, and I don't think you want boobies that have scars and whatnot. And my problem with that is, like, we are ignoring the patient, we're ignoring the pain, the discomfort, and everything that comes with it. We're ignoring the fact that I'm the one who has to live with this every single day. Even if the tests come out negative and say, nah, there's nothing cancerous in that, we're still ignoring the fact that I came to consult because I'm uncomfortable. I don't think you can see cancer walking across the street. I don't think you can see it whether it's in your body or not. I came because I'm uncomfortable and I expect to be helped because of that. Oh, well, okay, fine. Then tests were run, and again, there were a couple of them that were inconclusive. They're like, we're going to have to run further tests. And the thing, or the risk with the running further tests, is that time is moving, and you never want to cut corners. You never want to take a chance, especially with the silent killer called cancer. It could go from stage 1 to 4 literally in a space of months, and by the time you get your test results, it's too late, and now you have to go for chemotherapy and whatnot. So obviously that was a route we wanted to avoid by any means necessary. So 2014, around June, that's when my second operation was now scheduled. It was a different doctor, just simply because I felt like you're not understanding me. I just felt like a second opinion might help. And the second doctor agreed with me, because I obviously don't want to walk around with lumps here. But if you, being a doctor, saying, no, keep walking around with them until the pain is very painful. Now, how do I differentiate between the levels of pain? So then the second doctor, that's where he came into the picture, and we already had to start the whole process from scratch, the tests and whatnot, and eventually getting to surgery day. I remember it was around the June recess when I had my second operation, and that also went well. But the downside to my second operation, okay, so with the first operation, is that it's the YouTube streets and I can't be showing that. But the first operation, the way it went, maybe I'll find a diagram or something that shows. But the first operation, the way it went, you see where your nipple is and the dark area of skin around the nipple, the areola, right? He made sure that he cuts where it's dark, so that even when it's healed, you can't really tell what went down. Because after my first operation, you wouldn't really be able to see unless I showed you specifically to say this is a scar because of so and so. But in the second operation, some of the lumps were like attached to my skin, and there was no way he could go through the areola to kind of pull them out without kind of cutting or pulling on or damaging the skin. So the second operation left me with a bit more scars than the first, a bit more visible scars than the first operation. But I don't think that was a big deal for me. I don't know why they make it such a big deal to say now your boobs are gonna be ruined and now you're gonna have to keep explaining. No, I don't have to explain. If you don't want scarred boobs, you don't want scarred boobs. Then what must I do?
What must I do if you don't want them?
So it wasn't really a big deal for me, because I think more than anything, I was just grateful that it's a life saved, and it's another life saved, and I dodged yet another bullet, and you know what, life goes on. I was happy, and then I realized after both operations, like my boobs kept getting smaller and smaller, and that was just inevitable, right? Because anyone who knew me before getting my first operation would tell, like, I was a straight double D girl, like I was a double D cup, and I was just here, Then I had the first operation, and then it was like a young C, just settled down and behaved. Then after my third operation, I was now like a young B, and then life went on as normal. And then obviously I thought, we're done with this, but I don't know what told me this wasn't the end. Something in me just said it's not really the end, it's not far from the end. And I was like, what, we'll just see it, we'll just take it as it goes. And life went on. We're still on recess, so I healed really quickly. And by the time the schools reopened again, I was able to go back to school and life went back to normal. And I was like, you know what? Yay, grades, problem solved. We're far from dodging bullets, far from it. That was actually, I think the operation I had in 2014 was the least dramatic of them all because it went by really quickly. Like consulted now, within a month I was scheduled for an operation, and that was done, and then I went back to school. And I was like, no, okay, fine, problem solved. The girlies are great, the boobies are healing quite well. And I think the biggest downside to the operations is the fact that I have to stop working out for like quite a while, because even after the 3-week period where you're now able to go back to life as normal, you can't really be putting, can't really be jogging, running, putting pressure on this area, just for safety reasons. So that's one thing that was just such a bummer, but obviously health comes first. The next occurrence I would now have, the next operation I would now have would be during the year of 2016, and will be 2016. I'll be touching on that in the next video. Stay tuned for part 3. I'll most likely still be wearing the same outfit because I can't even remember. But thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Thrive Out Loud. As always, it's a pleasure sitting here sharing a little bit of myself with you, one episode at a time. Do remember the house rules in here were like, comment, subscribe, click on the bell notifications, and tell a friend to tell another friend to bring on some popcorn. And I said we comment. Ne? Yeah, comment. Thank you. Bye.